Some of you may have heard me refer to what I call garbage theology. And basically, to me, garbage theology is something that is so ignorant that it needs to be thrown in the garbage before some people reads it and actually believes it. It seems like in 1878, James White wrote a book about Joseph Bates. And the title of this book is The Early Life and Later Experiences of Elder James Bates. That is by James White, and the book was from Steam Press of the Adventist Publishing Association, 1878. Now you remember, for those of you who know, Joseph Bates was a sailor, and in his in the mid-20s is when he did most of his sailing. And he makes this statement in chapter 12 of this book, where he says, and I quote, "Passing from the northern into the southern hemisphere, one is struck with the remarkable changes in the starry sky," end quote. Now then, remember that he had just passed from the northern hemisphere to the western hemisphere. And then he goes on to say this, and I quote, "But the most remarkable of all the cloudy stars," he says, "is the middle of Orion's sword, where 7 stars, 3 of which are very close together, seem to shine through a cloud. It looks like a gap in the sky through which one may see as it were a part of a much brighter region. Although most of these spaces are but a few minutes of a degree in breadth, yet since they are among the fixed stars, they must be spaces larger than what is occupied by our solar system, in which there seems to be a perpetual uninterrupted day among numberless worlds which no human can ever discover." Now listen closely to this. This gap, or space in the sky, undoubtedly is the same that is spoken of in the scripture in Revelations 19:11, end quote. Now let me read you what he's referring to here out of Revelation 19:11, where it says in there, "And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he does judge and make war." So he is associating Orion's Belt with the second coming of Jesus Christ. Like there is where Jesus Christ is going to come from. Remember now, this was in the early 1820s. And he sees Orion's Belt, and it reminds him of the coming of Jesus. And apparently to him, Jesus is going to come back through Orion's Belt. Now then, I really think the man had been at sea a little bit too long. Who knows? You know, to me that's just garbage theology. But anyway, Joseph Bates meets up with James and Ellen White, I don't know, 1845, 46 maybe, somewhere along there. And it appears that Ellen White and James White see that this captain has money, and he's interested in astronomy. So remember, he's talking about Orion's Belt in this book that was written by James White. Now then, when you go to early writings of Ellen White, let me read you something out of it. Remember now, this is some 25 to 30 years after Joseph Bates was sailing these seas now. Listen to what she says. "Dark and heavy clouds came upon and crashed against each other. The atmosphere parted and rolled back. Then we could look up through the opening space in Orion. Hence came the voice of God. The holy city will come down through that open space," end quote. If you have never heard such garbage theology in all of your life. So now God's talking to her through Orion's Belt. And the holy city is going to come down through Orion's Belt. Of course, that's found nowhere in Scripture. It's only found in the mixed up mind of Ellen White and believed by what their own president called them, the Bible illiterate people of the Seventh-day Adventist. Is there a Seventh-day Adventist on YouTube that actually believes this stuff? Do you really believe that the holy city is going to come down through Orion's Belt? Or maybe Ellen White just needed some money. And knowing that Joseph Bates was a sea captain and an astronomy, maybe she was just trying to play on whatever. Seems kind of amazing that he would quote it, and some 30, 35 years later or so, she would say the exact same thing almost. So the holy city is going to come down through Orion's Belt. Seventh-day Adventists, please tell me you don't believe this garbage theology. Please. Oh well, what can you say? They are Seventh-day Adventists. Until next time, this has been Godly saying, God bless.